Well, people are divided about whether they liked episode 4 or not, which I did, and I accept what that means. But you guys also had some really great questions about the last episode. So this video, I want to answer those questions and read some of your pretty awesome statements. So let's start with everyone's favorite Mr. Trick, who asks, how will Cersei react when she finds out Jaime slept with Brienne? Put on a brave face or psycho rage? Thanks, and rawr. I don't think he's actually going to tell her. Like I said in another video, I think Cersei is going to be rock hard at Jaime crawling back to her because she loves power over people, especially men, so I don't think it's ever going to come up. Besides that, I don't think Jaime wants to poke the lion, so to speak, since she already put out a hit on his life. So I don't think it'll ever come up. Also, I don't think they're going to have enough time because I feel like Jaime's going to arrive at King's Landing just in time to die with Cersei. Because apparently Jaime just can't rise above and learn from his mistakes. Mr. Trick also asked, is that it for Ghost now? Battered and bloody? Now Jon just leaves him behind? And Rhaegal, last time I cried this much was when Simba's dad was trampled. Fuck you, Scar, piece of shit. And do you think Sandor will ever find peace, even if he kills his brother? I'm just gonna say it, Jon's a bad pet owner. That good boy deserved a lot better. Jon, you ignored your pet direwolf for far too long, and he is way better off with Tormund. Tormund will just treat Ghost how that good boy deserves to be treated. Also, Jon, fuck you for not even going up to him and giving him a pet goodbye. You're trash. Honestly, I feel like Rhaegal and Ghost are victims of budget. We know that Ghost has been the victim of HBO's budget for quite a few years now. They have said, oh yeah, Ghost was actually written in this scene, but we didn't want to spend the money on it, so Ghost isn't here. That's a truth fact. It's also why Ghost disappeared during the death charge. As for Sandor, I think he already kind of has peace, especially as the gravedigger. I think his final thing is putting his brother to rest, who is a monster, and then I feel like Sandor does actually have peace. I feel like he's pretty good with himself at this point, to be honest. We can only hope him and Arya go off to have tons of adventures together. Pegleg Pete asked, the Night's Watch completed their 8,000 plus year duty. Sam is the only living member, which makes him the de facto Lord Commander. In theory, he could disband them. Your thoughts on the Night Watch's future? I'm gonna keep saying this, and I don't care if no one agrees with me. I don't think the Night King is done for. I think there's always going to be a Night King, and he's always going to be a threat, so they're going to have to rebuild a new Night's Watch, and sometime in the future, the Night King, or Night Queen, you know, let's be equal opportunity, or whatever I'm supposed to say, not to be a sexist, will appear thousands of years from now, but just like modern Westeros, by the time the Night King, Queen, has reappeared, they'll have forgotten about it, and it'll be the same shit, different time. Goddess of Wine asked, by the way, that's an epic name. So many questions, like how did Dany not see Euron's fleet from the air? How did Missandei get captured? Grey Worm told her to go to the skiff. Not many people know that a skiff is a small boat. Do you think we will see Fire and Blood next episode? My last question, what about the Starbucks cup? So D&D said that Dany just kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet. She forgot about the Iron Fleet. She just had a war council about them and had her advisors with her. She forgot about them. And yeah, the vantage point that the dragons had, they should have seen Euron's fleet, so I don't know. They're just ignoring things to cause drama because we needed another dragon dead and Missandei captured to create suspense. I'm guessing Missandei was in the water in a little boat, which made her a target, which had them swoop in and grab her. And yeah, we're definitely seeing Fire and Blood next episode. As for the Starbucks cup, I find it hilarious that people are taking old Game of Thrones scenes and inserting Starbucks cups into them. The Saints fan added, After you kill the army of the dead, even Winterfell gets a Starbucks. And Tom said, update, Dan and Dave were extras in the coffee cup scene. Though Tom also asks, who was the drinker of the Starbucks coffee? It was Sansa. It was an inside job to make Dany look bad. 100%. Confirmed. Goddess of Wine also said, just wanted to express my sadness for Missandei. She was a slave most of her life, and although freed, she still died in chains. That was probably the most messed up thing about her death, and there were quite a few messed up things about her death. I mean, it is really sad. She was a slave, she was freed, and then she died in chains to a monster. So, I'm 100% behind Dany going fire and blood and burning them all next episode. Our wonderful Dardell 2001 asks, will just the Red Keep get burned, or all of King's Landing in the next episode? I don't think all of King's Landing gets burned next episode, but I think a good portion of it, and I think regardless if Cersei dies or not, she wins because she makes Dany go all fire and blood, burn them down, and people see her as a monster even if she isn't, which I think is Cersei's grand plan. Tom asks, I agree with Sansa that Jon's secret identity is far too important to keep from the world. How do you feel about what Sansa said to Tyrion? To which Andrew added, Ned Stark keeps the secret for 16 years and takes it to his grave. Sansa, 5 minutes. Yeah, Sansa is proof that Ned did the right thing by keeping that secret to himself and not even telling his wife. Bitches, man. But we know that Sansa purposely told Tyrion because she knew Tyrion would tell Varys, and then Varys would tell everyone because the showrunners confirmed that Sansa is now a mastermind and she can think multiple steps ahead or moves ahead in the game, much like Littlefinger. So she's now a political genius? Seth asks, do you think Jon Snow will go back to the Night's Watch and give up his claim to the Iron Throne Maester Aemon style? I have a feeling the Northerners would still be superstitious about others. So I guess I'm the only crazy person that doesn't believe the others are gone, and I'm not gonna let it go. Not until the final episode of Game of Thrones. And then if the others aren't brought up again, I won't believe it until George releases the final book. Which is never. I'm never letting this go. The others are coming back. They're always going to be a threat. But yeah, they are hinting hardcore that Jon belongs in the North and he's going to go back and be part of the Night's Watch. And probably make a better Night's Watch. Mr. Thunder asked, could Bronn be a secret reign of Castamere? Jaime has promised Bronn a castle and Tyrion gold. The only claim they have to both is Casterly Rock. There was a terrible line from the Dornish plot. You need bad pussy. That would be Cersei. Naughty lion. If Bronn married Cersei and raised her child as his own, Tyrion and Jaime would agree to forfeit their claims to Casterly Rock. The biggest problem would be that Lena refuses to be in a scene with Jerome. Bronn is a secret reign theory is interesting, and I kind of want to find the person who started it and just pistol whip them. I don't think Bronn is a secret reign. I'm totally open to that being a thing, but even if he is, I don't think he'd touch Cersei with a 10-foot pole. Bronn, while he likes pussy, he can recognize super crazy get me killed pussy, and I just feel like he doesn't think it's worth it. There are some lays that are even too risky for Bronn. Mr. Trick also asks, how amazing was Gwendolyn Christie in this episode? I loved her this episode, and I know some people feel like her crying kind of made Brienne's character weaker or weakened her character arc, but I feel like it added a lot more depth, and I loved it. I also think Brienne was criminally underused, just like Gwendolyn in the sequel trilogy. PEGLEG commented, Dear Cersei, Dany showed up at the gates of Qarth with a lot less than she had at your gates. My money is on the Dragon Queen. While rewatching that scene and Tyrion's lame speech to his sister, this time I wanted Cersei to go Tywin and wipe them out. It would have been easy. Dany had at best 200 Unsullied. Cersei had the whole Golden Company and Lannister army. Drogon was easily within Scorpion range. Yeah, I like how Cersei sent out an assassin to kill her brothers, and then one of her brothers was before her and she could kill them, and she was like, nah. I'm gonna hear him out. And even if she wanted to hear him out for some sick reason, she could have killed him after she decided, I'm not gonna listen to you, because the showrunners confirmed that Cersei in that moment reverted to being a child and didn't want to give her brother what he wanted in a childish way, so that's what happened. Also, I really think Cersei has a point to all of this. She wants the world to see Dany as a monster because Dany sees herself as the slayer of monsters, the breaker of chains, and Cersei wants to show her, nope, you're a monster like the rest of us. Welcome to being a leader, bitch. Treva asked, will Tormund kill Jaime for breaking Brienne's heart? Why didn't Tormund get Bear Island? Didn't Euron wonder how Tyrion knew Cersei is pregnant? Where are the Manderleys? Where is Edmure Tully? The Night King didn't touch Bran's skin on skin, so how is he turning Bran? Wouldn't it be Arya who should turn? Sorry, one more question. Is it possible we are losing dragons and direwolves because in order for the Night King to stay gone, the magic has to go? Treva, 1, never apologize for questions. It gives me another excuse to talk about Game of Thrones, which I absolutely love. I think Tormund is a good human being and decided, okay, she didn't choose me, she rejected me, so I'm just gonna move on. I really think Ghost and Tormund are gonna have a beautiful life up north. It's a match made in heaven. I think Tormund could take care of Bear Island. Rip House Mormont. I mean, if we're going with the theory that he's Lyanna's father, then I guess that would be fitting, but I don't think they're doing that in the show. I think Euron knows because they're making him so OP in the show, but I think Euron knows how to play his cards right in order to get what he wants, but he's gonna die anyways. We've seen the Manderleys before. I'm more interested in Edmure. We know that his actor was credited for this season, so I'm wondering when he's going to pop up, but honestly, if I was him and now the in charge of the Riverlands, I'd be like, I'm staying out of all of your fucking wars and battles and all this shit because nothing but bad things come to the Riverlands. So I'm just gonna sit here and heal my area. Fuck off. As for Bran, Bran was marked by the Night King. It was all the way back when he was in the cave. And I don't know if the Night King marked Arya or if he just grabbed her by the throat through clothing. I'm not exactly sure. I feel like they would have made a thing about it so far, so I don't think Arya is marked, but I could be wrong. And I think we're losing direwolves and dragons just because of budget. I think the Night King is always going to be a threat, and it's always going to be a possibility that he can come back. 0.5 Joker asks, how much more satisfying would it have been if Missandei proudly stepped forwards to her death / attempted to jump and failed to take Cersei with her? 1,000,000 times more. I'm actually the sick person that looked up how far up they were and if Missandei could survive the fall, and while data wasn't in her favor, statistically she could survive, so I don't know. I feel like she should have tried to take Cersei out, but maybe she was trying to die with dignity. And I mean, even if she jumped, they could have rained arrows down on her, so she was fucked either way, but you're right. She should have tried to take Cersei out. PEGLEG Pete said, Varys should have known Jon's parentage since Robert's rebellion. As spy master, knowing everything going on with Crown Prince Rhaegar and others in the royal family is part of his job. I don't know. Varys didn't know quite a few things that were going on during the time of Robert's rebellion, so I don't think he was all-knowing. Treva added to PEGLEG Pete's comment, that would be a great connection to Varys raising a secret Targaryen to take the throne. Saints fan commented, I have one more thing bothering me all day for 8 seasons. It's also been about R+L=J, and we don't see Sansa and Arya react to the news. We don't see Tyrion react. It's like they decided, nah, we're just messing with you. None of this is important, not the Night King or Jon's parentage. Surprise, we sure fooled you, didn't we? I know this is like one of the biggest complaints, such as they didn't show Sansa reacting to Jon revealing, hey, I was dead and brought back. I mean, I understand not seeing Arya responding to it. She's seen a man die and be brought back, so to her it's like, oh, okay, I've seen this before. But it would have been cool to see Sansa responding to that. And it's the same thing with learning of Jon's parentage. For so long, there was a certain dynamic in their family, and it would have been cool to see how they deal with that. I know they kind of feel like it would have been boring to see that played out since we already know the information, but honestly, the emotional payoff would have been amazing. As for the Night King, I've said it a few times and I will not stop saying it. I don't think he's really gone. Finally, the goddess shared. The main problem with season 7 and 8 is that they rushed to completion. There is no reason we should have things happening off screen. D&D are just wanting to be done with the show, and you can see that. Everything is crammed and rushed just for the sake of ending it. This rush to completion provides for a less than satisfying result. It is a shame, really. They could have done so much more, but chose not to. Yeah, even George said they could go for a few more seasons, and those at HBO wanted them to, and I feel like D&D are rushing to the conclusion, not only to finish it because they have that mad Star Wars money, but also they are doing things in a rushed manner to add drama. So, at this point, I'm just happy to get what I can get, you know? I'm just happy that this is the only ending I might see for the series. I might not ever see George complete his book, so I don't know. I complain, but at the end of the day, I'm happy to get anything. Okay, thank you so much for your questions. I love answering them. Like, subscribe, and come back for more videos.